I might have to give it a shot. And it sucks because ES is just so bad this morning. It's really hard to tell where it's gonna go, but um, probably gonna give it a shot. I think NQ is gonna break to the upside. Looks like it's stronger than ES, and looks like shorts are about to get squeezed out. If you guys want to take a scalp to ES blue line, you totally can. It's too small of a PT. I can't take it. There's the blue line, just as predicted. Congrats if you made money on that. It's a very easy trade, but it's just simply too small of a trade for me to take by a lot, like by a lot. So it's a big volume spike there on NQ. That could on both actually. That could indicate a reversal to the downside. I don't know yet. I don't know why we dropped in the first place. So I'm not opposed to this going all the way back up. Um, I'm looking for a dip right around up here to enter longs on. Yeah, Brian, and I end up, geez, what the hell is that? And now I kind of wish I was in longs. Um, I mean, yeah, Brian, that's I didn't actually sell for a big loss at all on those SPX contracts. I thought it was going to be bigger, but it really wasn't. Um, it's just like, I don't have any other demand is way too strong for me to just go short blindly. And another big thing is there was no like bearish patterns on NQ. There's no really bearish setups. Now, if this didn't make a lower low this morning, I could have taken shorts here, but because it made a lower low and it hit demand, I can't. Like, that's not something I can take. Market's pretty bullish. I can enter on this candle, but I'd rather not chase it. I want to keep my odds high, especially after yesterday. But there's the falling wedge break. I tried all morning to get it, but Was not getting it. I do like NQ longs here a lot. I think I'm willing to take it. I do not know why we popped, but this is what I wanted to happen. Here's the last 10 seconds. I did take it. Didn't wait for the last 10 seconds of this candle, but we will see what happens. Oh my gosh, the market's actually going crazy. What is going on right now? That's pretty much my average. I'm about to stop out actually. Oh, let's see. The only thing I have right now is U.S. designates a Sinaloa cartel as terrorist organizations. Okay, that's cool, I guess. I think that might be moving the market because that means U.S. may do stuff in Mexico. Maybe. It's kind of what I'm thinking. Okay. Chris says Trump has exposed interest in a deal that would include substantial investments and commitments from China to buy more American products. Doesn't seem bearish to me. It's not seem bearish to me. SPG is way too close. I just go with supply on this one. I mean, I'm at that point. By the time it gets a supply, I'm bullish for NQ to get they get new high of day. So I'm just gonna roll with this stop loss here. Because the whole point, I mean, the reason why I wanted to dip down here and it happened. Well, I do not like that NQ is weaker than ES now. That's kind of lame. When ES has been weaker um, on the two green candles. But anyways, it's actually NQ's a lot weaker. I really don't like that at all. But anyways, I was looking for the inverse head and shoulders. It doesn't look like NQ wants to put in that inverse head and shoulders. It looks like it wants to stop out. Which has been story of my life today. NQ's been a piece of shit today. It's done absolutely nothing for me whatsoever. Yeah, NQ's, unless I'm shorting NQ, it's pretty much on my hit list today. All morning, NQ just could not get its life together. I didn't think it would continue into the second hour, but it has. I'm like an ES longs. NQ really shouldn't have stopped me out. It's really annoying that NQ stays that weak. But yeah, I mean, most this week invalidates. It's the same trade, which sucks. I'd rather not have to re-enter the same trade, but I am bullish on ES. NQ looks like it perfectly swept my stop loss and is reforming that inverse head and shoulders. I mean, I can into this year. I don't really want to. I think he's going to pull back again, and I think NQ's flipping strong again. It's baiting me back in. It did indeed bait me back in. I'm giving NQ one more chance. It is undeniably stronger than ES now. Just barely perfectly swept my stop loss. So stop loss is very tight on this. Yeah, NQ was only weak while I was in that last trade, so it can perfectly stop me out and then to flip strong. That is an inverse head and shoulders on NQ. Here's a neckline to said head and shoulders. I don't really have a hard PT for this. Um, it's a huge depends. You know, the one to this is just a close PT is more than 1 to 1. But realistically, at the minimum, I'd want supply. But by the time it gets supply, I'm kind of bullish for it to get new high of day. But I'm just gonna roll a supply, um, because I feel like if it does get to supply, it's probably gonna pull back off of it before it gets new high of day. The market sentiment's pretty weird today. I don't know what's actually driving it. What I need is I need ES to get up back up to here. If ES can get back up to here, this trade will be looking pretty good. I need it to break the high of this selling wick. That'll be a pretty good indication that's going to head back to new high of day. Erico, there's no FOMC, dude. Oh wait, there is later today. There's just the meeting. I don't know why whenever someone says FOMC, I always think of interest rates. That explains a really shitty price action at the beginning of the morning. Oh, there's the inverse head and shoulders. Let's see how it does against the neckline. What a pain in the ass, man. Like, I was in this exact same trade right before. NQ looked like it was going to be stronger. It was extremely weak. Perfectly swept my stop loss, and now it's the strongest thing. Crazy. How it goes, though. That is how it goes sometimes. And you know, there isn't really any other play. Here's where I stopped out. I literally stopped out here. Like, if it invalidates that entire buying wick, it's probably going to continue down. It didn't. It didn't even sweep a lower low, but I stopped out right here. Wild. Good TA, though. Good hypothesis. I mean, what can you do? It depends. I might not honor my supply PT. I kind of want to, but if NQ, and that's an if NQ does get to supply, I'm thinking ES is probably going to be right here. Is it unreasonable to think ES is going to break high of day? And by then, is NQ going to be pretty much at high of day? That's what I'm thinking. NQ made a higher high, so it didn't sweep this high on the left, but it swept the nearest high. ES is really having a hard time with supply right now. ES is being the burden. Glad I didn't enter that. I don't know, guys. Type in chat. What do you guys think? NQ to supply or NQ to new high of day? I wasn't expecting NQ to flip this strong after hornswoggling me. What do you guys think? Okay, now NQ has swept pretty much everything, so it can pull back. Um, I guess it's just a big depends. I have a hard limit order at supply right now. If I see something I really like, I'll change it. Otherwise, I'm probably just gonna honor it, guys. Um, with FOMC, Erico pointed it out. Thanks to him. I don't know if I'm not as confident in this trend just continuing. But if NQ keeps doing what it's doing right now, I'm gonna. Yep, I'm probably gonna remove it, folks. It's a little too strong. It is a little too strong. I may regret it though. Because I'm bullish for a new high of day, but is it going to sweep high of day and then go back to demand for a re-entry? This is a tough decision, folks. This is tough. This is very tough. You see how this candle closes. Oh my gosh, it closed so nice. But ES isn't going to where I wanted it to go. ES is not indicating that it's also going to get high of day. I think I'm going to leave it and then jump the gun on a pullback. Because ES is not like invalidating the selling wick like I wanted it to. Oh, it's too strong. I had to do it. I removed it. Did I make the wrong decision? We will find out. But oh, this candle is too strong. I couldn't. I didn't have the heart to. Ah, but this candle is getting a bigger volume spike, which indicates a possible reversal. But see, now ES is starting to eat into the selling wick like I wanted. So I made the decision to extend it. Those two candles were just too bullish, you know. Obviously, I'll throw my stop loss to break even now. It's plenty high. If it comes all the way back down, it's something's wrong with the trade. I'm still expecting some hesitation at supply. Let's see if Taking it at supply would have been better. Wow, and Q's so much stronger than ES. That was kind of my issue. ES is just kind of chopping up. Looks like supply would have been better. Let me see if I would have been able to re-enter though. I wouldn't really be able to re-enter yet. I needed to go lower. You just had to put in the two strongest candles in the world. Like those two candles right before it hit my PT. If they were any different candles, I would have just honored the supply um, price target. It looks like NQ is going to go a bit lower. It's trying not to, but I think it's going to. So realistically, if I wanted to aggressively re-enter, I would look for an entry roughly around here. That's what I'm watching for it to dip to. So it did dip to there. Is it gonna let the candle close now? Would have been better if I honored the supply because I'd be re-entering. Would have been better. But I mean, what can I do? Those two candles were like the strongest candles in the world. That's a nice candle. Since I would be looking to aggressively re-enter, which is what I said, I would have probably re-entered at the close of that candle. I like the buying wicks, and this would have been the PT. Now let me see here. As for the stop loss, though, see the stop loss would probably be below supply, roughly here. 1.6 risk to reward. And in doing so, I would have saved 39 ticks, 10 points on ES. Now, the only way that not honoring the supply price target was the, I guess, luckier decision, is really what it comes down to, is if this comes down, sweeps demand, and then goes all the way back up. Because then I would have stopped out of this long just to re-enter and make that money back. But that is a gorgeous supply rejection. Man, what a tough decision. Such a tough decision. If those candles were any weaker, I would have honored the supply PT. It was a great price target. Ooh, so maybe this long trade would stop out. The hypothetical one that I would have taken. But now NQ's way weaker than ES. It really did not like that supply. Supply and demand indicator does indeed win again. That's what I get for underestimating the phenomenal supply and demand indicator. Its ability to just turn around price action after two insanely strong candles. And NQ looks like it's weak now. It is very weak. ES looks ready to potentially get a break to the upside. That supply killed NQ's momentum, which is so surprising to me because NQ had no indications that that was going to happen. Okay, so I pretty much would have stopped out of these. This hypothetical long didn't hit stop loss yet, but it's close enough to where very easily could have stopped me out. Geez, NQ's dead, guys. I'm thinking I may stop out at break even. It is dead. It got freaking killed. All right, that hypothetical long that I would have taken would have stopped out here. But now I'm not thinking NQ is going to go back up. I think that's it. I think NQ got freaking slaughtered by supply. So that was a massive, massive green to red trade. Love to see it. So selling at supply still would have been better. Yeah, there's my stop loss at break even. So unlucky, man. If we go back up, I'm back in, just with an infinitely worse average. It was a phenomenal trade. Unfortunate that I keep telling you guys. I'm probably, and also I started back testing the first hour of trading with my futures, and based on the results, these live streams may come to an end because this time of day is just so much shittier to trade. In the first 4 days, I only did 4 days of February, up $7,000 per futures account, whereas second hour, it's up like 1,000. So it's like, you know, these lives may be coming to an end because it's not really worth it, with how much money I'm sitting out on during the first hour. But we'll have to see. Regardless, could stop loss at break even, as painful as it is. As painful as it is. Toani pre-market is first hour of trading's best for futures. So I'm triggering into shorts here, but the volume spike is way too high. So why not live stream the first hour? Because I'm also trading options. I can't talk to you guys and trade options and trade futures and alert at the same time. It's impossible. What I'm thinking about doing is finally, after 4 years, no longer alerting options and just live streaming with my server so I can trade options and futures in the morning. And not having to alert saves me 90% of the work. Because it's like, the second and third hour were so freaking good for most of last year, but it's been so many months now that it's just not optimal. And the discrepancy between the first and second hour have become so apparent night and day. It's like, why am I wasting my time here? You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, I could change the way I trade, but the way I trade works so well for this first hour. I don't want to it's hard for someone to just psychologically pivot and just trade a completely different way during this hour. That is a reversal candle on NQ, but I'm kind of leaning bearish for low of day. Obviously, everyone in the Discord votes for that. No more alerting, just live trading options and futures. You guys wouldn't see my options trading, but you guys would see the futures. I'll consider it. I have to finish my back testing first. And we'll probably test it out for a week. So I'll take a break from alerting options for a week, hop in voice with you guys, and see what we can do. Oh, that is bearish on NQ. I'm triggered into freaking shorts. I really am. I'm not in yet. I hesitated a bit too much. I really should be in at the close of this candle. But I'm a little bit hesitant because yes, I just hesitated a little bit. Really, I mean, it looks decent for a new low of day. If this green candle invalidates, I'm in. If this green candle invalidates, I am in there. Yeah, it is on the 61.8. Looks about right. But I'll still hop in if the green candle validates. Using Apex Peter. On that break even stop loss, I actually lost $9. I'm pretty upset about it. Should have put it slightly above. Otherwise, if NQ decides to squeeze all the way back up, I guess I'm going to be back in. But no pivots are going to be swept because that's just the way the second hour rolls. So either of these trades are decent to take. That is hard. A lot of people do like the options, but like it's impossible. It's just like I don't get paid enough to alert my options. I really don't. I alert in like 30 servers. I think 4 of them still pay me because I don't check. That's the thing. Like I don't really care because I'm making money trading. Now everyone used to, I alerted in like 45, 50 servers and everyone used to pay me, but over time I just really haven't seriously checked. I checked once in the last like 3 years, 2.5 years. So it's like I don't get paid enough. And as far as this server, everyone would just be better off if I just live trade. And I don't have to type everything out. That's bullish on ES. I'm gonna have to enter. What's up with the hornswoggling today, guys? What's up with the freaking? What's up with this shitty price action? But I'm very confirmed into ES longs now. I did hop in. Guess we'll see what happens. Have to get in. Have to get in. This PT can come up a smidge. The 1-to-1 PT is new high of day. But really, the PT is going to be up here. Because by the time ES at new high of day, NQ is going to be back at the supply, and then we'll be bullish for NQ new high of day. And with ES stronger than NQ, that puts my PT all the way up here. Is it likely to hit? Eh. I'd say it's 50-50 with a 1.8 risk to reward, but that's a big difference. In the mornings, it's not 50-50, and the risk to reward is still pretty good. It could, yeah, Connor, it could be. Pains my soul that I didn't honor the supply price target. That was a great price target. But it's like, I also understand why I didn't honor it because it was, it's going to pain my soul if ES flips weaker than NQ as well here. That's going to be painful. Hopefully that's not the case. I'm thinking my PT, my ESPT is too far. It's not that much stronger than NQ. NQ had a bigger drop, retraced pretty much the entire drop. Let me see though. If I entered NQ, so 25 ticks on ES would be identical to NQ's PT. Yeah. NQ's better again, man. It freaking sucks that it flips so weak on the downside and then flips so strong on the upside. Be consistent. I'm able to move this stop loss up a tick though. Yeah, they're pretty much the same. Back to my original sentiment. And even though it did go back up, that stop loss at break even was good because it would have swept. It would have perfectly swept the stop loss that I originally had. NQ is much weaker. It's not much weaker on this upside. This candle's weaker on NQ by a little bit, but we'll see. Yes, Gadget, I do. It is a bot. Just gonna leave this up just for comparison. I know some people can get confused on which trade I'm in, but I'm gonna hang out on my phone. It looks like this trade's got a while. It's right in the middle of my stop loss and PT. Screen by here. 3 by 1. That's pain. ES is doing what I needed to do. Now, my faraway ES PT is looking a bit better. All right, I'm gonna hang out on my phone until something cool happens. This is pretty boring. Looks like ES is starting to see a lot of resistance around new high of day. Finally got a couple red candles that NQ wasn't also red with. It was a high day break. I'm bullish for NQ to sweep this high. I totally think NQ has a good chance of pulling back before it gets to this high. Never mind, it just got to the high. Is it going to go for new high of day as well? Right now, this is line. The stars are aligning. Like this is what I. This is why I entered ES. ES is PT. Again, money wise, if I went with NQ, this is how much money I would have made. ES made me, or is trying to make me 20% more, 25% more than NQ would have made me. So that's my NQ PT. Now, I would have sold there. That's perfect double top on ES. How unlucky can we possibly get over the last 2 days? What do you guys think? Do you think my unluckiness is unlucky enough for this double top not to break? Type of chat. Cast your votes now. So I'll move my stop loss up a little bit more. There you go. Comes all the way down there. No shot. Doesn't get full break. Appreciate your support, Bree. What do you guys do for Valentine's Day? It's a good question, Magic. What did I do for Valentine's Day? Got a massage. Couples massage. That was it. Be crafty. I wasn't gonna leak you like that, but yeah, it was really good, dude. Really enjoyed the ending as well. The ending was my favorite part. T crafty. Yeah, that emergency things you said. What did I had? What did I say I had an emergency thing? Oh, yeah, that wasn't Valentine's Day, but yeah, I went out of town last weekend. Yeah, I had to bail a friend out of jail, so had to take a trip to California to do that. That was that was funny. That was fun. Yeah. That's why I disappeared. That's why I completely disappeared the weekend. I'm like, this motherfucker, dude. If you guys want to hear about it, I'll tell you. We're not really doing anything else. If it looks like double top's gonna break, PT's gonna hit. I'm green on the day. It really sucks, man, because today should be a 100% accurate day. I mean, let's just review with what I did. Hang on. Okay, so the very first trade I took was this trade here. Granted, I didn't wait for the candle to close, but it wouldn't have mattered because I would have been on this candle. My stop loss was here. It swept it, okay? So my PT was still supply. Swept it. Unnecessary loss. I mean, there's no avoiding that loss. My PT had to be there, or my stop loss had to be there. Um, Re-entered here. Had my PT at supply here. But it was a really tough debate between that and new high of day. And in the last seconds, I removed my PT and went for new high of day. Obviously, it was the wrong decision, but based on the candles, I easily see why I made that decision. So it's not like I'm going to fault myself for that. You know, if that same setup shows up tomorrow, it's probably just going to keep going to new high of day. You know, it's a complete roll of the dice. Um, Now, granted, if I did sell there, I would have taken longs here and I would have lost on those longs here. So I still would have been green, but I would have given back about half of the gains from this green trade. Um, so it's like everything I predicted happened, but it just so happened in a way that I didn't really, really the only thing that I could have changed was sticking with my supply PT. That's what I could have done. Um, but that's just not the way it went. And it's whatever. Most times it's going to reject supply. It's not going to go into supply with those candles. But there's nothing I can really do about it. The TA was at least there. Our hypotheses ended up being correct. So it's not the end of the world. And then this break even stop loss was a good stop loss because my other stop loss was here and it would have swept it perfectly. So it's just what happens sometimes. Good trading though, and good psychology for the most part. See, I entered this trade at here. If you guys want to hear the story about me bailing my buddy out, I'll tell you. Granted, I hope he's not watching. No way he's watching this. He doesn't wake up in the mornings. I just finished documenting this at 9:14. Well, we have a green day. Should have been more green. I'm not happy with it at all. It's green by one trade. It's not much green at all, but it's like, well, what am I gonna do? You know? If I really wish that first trade didn't stop me out, that really screwed up like today. Just barely stopping me out like that. That really sucks. Spill the beans. Okay, I guess I'll tell this story. That is a potential reversal trade on NQ. You can take it. I'm not going to. I don't think it has good odds of reversing. It's technically a reversal trade. I don't think it has good odds. And in fact, I want to dip by it. I want to dip by it and go for this high all the way up here. I'm not going to do it though. I'll do it if it sweeps the lower low. And then I'll move stop loss to break even if it clears this high and just kind of ride it up. Anyways, do you guys actually want to hear the story or no? Really do? Okay. All right. So anyways, my one of my good friends, uh, he's got a bunch of supercars. He's got a SVJ full carbon 765 LT, 812 in Largo, which for those of you that know, that's a nice car. He's got a 48 Pista, a 600 LT, and then he's got an RS7. So his cars are worth 3 times mine are. Uh, Actually, maybe a little more than that. I think but anyways, he's a year older than me. But this specific friend has a huge speed problem for whatever reason, just the tism in him, or whatever it is. Dude cannot drive at normal speed. Like, just cannot drive at normal speed for the life of him. Like, when we go on drives, we have to drive in front of him, because he just can't. He just can't do it. It's just one of those things that he's kind of retarded in that manner. But anyways, so he decided, well, on Friday, he decided that he's gonna road trip. I'm in Arizona, by the way, so I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona. He decided he's gonna road trip to California, LA, to go on a rally with Hyper Society. For those that know, that's a car group with the Paganis and the Apollo IEs and the Chirons and all that stuff. So I invited him to go. Try to not get him to go because I think it's just stupid. Just driving six hours for one thing and then just driving back. I threw out the idea that we should just stay and go to the casino instead because that sounds like a plan. We can just get rich instead. But he ended up going, and so he left. And then at 4:30 in the morning, another close friend of ours, Caleb, um, he texted in our group chat, guys, I think Eli made an oopsie. And for whatever reason, I just popped awake when I heard my phone ding. I never do that. Like I never do that. Um, like what the hell are you talking about? He sends us because we all have each other's locations. He sends a screenshot of Eli's location, and it's at Central Men's Jail in Orange County. And I honestly rage. I'm like, this motherfucker, dude. I told him not to speak because I told him like, don't get your ass pulled over because he's already got so many points on his license and shit and whatever. Um, so like any good friend, I start. Caleb calls one guy, who's in the LA area, but obviously he doesn't wake up. So I call the jail. What he got in for wasn't actually speeding. He was pulled over for speeding, obviously. But this dumbass forgot that he was leaving a free country and going into California. So he brought his handgun with him. And like an idiot, when he got pulled over and the cop asked for his registration, he asked the cop, hey, can I reach for my registration? I have a firearm back there. And pretty much the cop was super cool, but the cop was so annoyed. He's like, you dumbass. Like he shouldn't. Even the cop said he shouldn't have told him. By the way, I'm probably gonna enter longs here. I mean that's really solid bullish consolidation. I'll see how this candle ends. If this candle ends perfect, I'm willing to take it because that's really nice bullish consolidation, and it did make lower lows with buying wick. I'm willing to take a chance on it. But it made a higher high. You guys can't wait. NQ's stronger though. NQ's so much stronger than ES. I just realized that. I think I might give it a shot. No, it's getting a selling wick. If it gets even a small selling wick, I'm not hopping in. It's already on a pivot in supply. I'd rather not. All right, I'm not in. I have to wait another candle. So continue the story. So anyways, now he has to get arrested because in California, you can't have a gun, period, unless you're licensed to have that gun in that specific county. And Orange County is super strict. So it's actually a felony just even having the gun, which I think that's the stupidest thing in the world. But politics aside, that's the way it is there. So he gets arrested. He calls his dad he got arrested at midnight California time, 1 a.m. my time. He got arrested like 30 minutes before that. He got to the jail at 1 a.m. my time. He made 3 phone calls on the side of the road. 2 of them didn't pick up, and then one was his dad. He just told it. He didn't really tell his dad anything. He said he's getting arrested and he'll keep him updated. And then he got to jail like 1 a.m. Now we didn't find out he was there until 4:30. What actually happened in the jail is it's looking pretty decent for longs, but I still gotta let the candles close. The last candle closed with a selling wick. I might just call it a small green day, honestly, because I'm not committed to this time of day anymore. I want to finish my back testing because it's the first hour is so much better, guys. I'm gonna figure something out because it's getting really, really hard. Like it's actually just making me depressed just to even go in these lives with how much better the first hour has been for my trading style lately. It's really hard to keep trading. So anyway, so I'll continue. So when he got to the jail, he didn't get his phone calls. They didn't give him any phone calls. So we only found out he was in jail because Caleb had the random urge to check on him, and I had the random idea to wake up at 4 in the morning. And we saw his location. So I'm like, oh shit. So I called the jail. I thought he got in for like reckless driving, and they impounded his Ferrari. He took his 812 in Largo, and I thought it was impounded. I'm like, oh, that freaking sucks. Caleb tells me a girl was with him, and he's never met this chick before. I think he met her on a dating app or whatever. Never met this girl before, and decided, you know what, come with me on this rally, it'll be fun. And obviously, a young girl's gonna say yes when you get to ride in a car like that and whatnot. Never met this girl, and Caleb said he was with the girl. I have no way of contacting this human being. I don't know anything what happened. All I know is that Eli's in jail. I don't know if he's gonna be able to get his car out. And there's some random girl that exists in California that has no way of getting home. That was just abandoned. Um, I actually found her Instagram, but like a dumbass, she had her. Because, see, in this situation, I would turn my messages on Instagram. Her messages were off on Instagram unless she follows me back. So I tried spam following her. She didn't see it. I'm like, all right, well, she may be a lost cause, right? I'm not attached to this person at all, right? I have no commitments to this person. I only care about my buddy. So Eli, I mean, ES is a lot stronger than NQ at the moment. I think I'm probably just going to sit it out though, guys. I don't really feel like losing a trade here. It's kind of 50-50. It's on a pivot, which is kind of against my rules, and NQ's in supply. I'd rather not. This is an okay long here if you want to take it. It is bullish consolidation. I am considering longs here to supply. But with FOMC, I was pretty much everything today in this session has been I'm confident for NQ new high day. That's it. After that, I don't really know. So I'm probably just going to sit it out, but you can take longs if you want. I hope it plays out if you do. Anyways, so I call the jail. I figure out what his charges are at 4 in the morning, and it's the gun charge. And that's pretty much it. Or they didn't actually know. Sorry, they didn't know. I asked for the information. They had no idea. I said, okay, call me when you guys get information, like how to get him out, how long he's going to be in there, his charge, all that stuff. Well, I fell back asleep and they called me at 7:20ish in the morning. So I woke back up at 7:20, answered the phone, and his information was finally processed. Now, keep in mind, I knew he was at least in there since 4, but I saw his Instagram story. And I saw that he got arrested at like midnight. So he was actually in jail already for 6 hours. Um, so they tell me it's the gun charge, and that's why he's in jail and blah blah blah. And they didn't say anything about speeding, so I don't believe his car's impounded. It's just at a tow yard, which is good. But keep in mind, I wasn't sure. Yeah, that's an important part. I wasn't sure. So his bond was 20,000. Um, and I'm like, because I'm not experienced with jail, guys. So I'm like, bond maybe 5 grand, whatever. They said 20K. I'm like, what? You guys see a Ferrari and you're just trying to rob us now? And they're like, no, actually, it seems like they cut him a bunch of slack because usually the bond for that charge is $50,000 to $100,000 on average. I'm like, good lord. So, anyways, or I can pay 10% to get him out, but then that 10% is losing. Because when you pay 20K or 50K or 100K to get someone out of jail, that money's refunded to you after their court date. But if you pay 10% of that, 2,000 or 5,000 or 10% of the bond, you only have to pay 10% to get him out, but you don't get that 10% back. So I'm essentially saving 2 grand, saving him a couple thousand. It's not like he cares, makes more than that in a day. Um, but also, I don't know anything about his car. I don't know if he has a ride home. So even if I do get him out of jail from Arizona, I have no idea if he even has a way of getting home. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll go. So I got the call at 7:20. I left the house by like 7:40 to California. It's like a 6-hour drive. Um, Now I either needed cash. I'm not comfortable driving with that much cash, just bringing it from my apartment. So I just did cashier's check. So, anyways, I call back his dad right before I leave, and I'm like, "Hey, do you know what's happening? Are you already in California?" Because I'm not gonna go if he already has a family in California. His dad knew absolutely nothing about anything. Turns out he never even got a phone call from jail, whatever. So no one really knows anything. I'm like, all right, I guess I'll go. Because his dad wouldn't be able to leave for another hour, and I just had the feeling like I need to rush. Thank God I rushed, guys. This is like the biggest clutch that I've performed in a while, okay? So I go to California, and once I get to Palm Springs, which is about 4 hours away from me, I hit up the bank. I get the cashier's check, and they also need like the name, because in order for them to take a cashier's check, they need the name of the person that issued the cashier's check so they can verify it before they can use it, right? So I got the name of the person that issued the cashier's check and the bank's phone number. And then I continue on my way, grab gas, continue on my way. I get to the jail, at about 1 p.m. Remember, this is last weekend. Okay, it was Saturday. I didn't realize, but not only does the bank close at 2 p.m., it won't reopen until Tuesday, and I have no way of getting money. They don't take wires. They only take cashier's checks in person. And that's another reason why I have to be in person. They don't take a bank wire. They don't take anything. And because banks are closed, I have no way of sending a wire. So I'm like, oh, that's actually clutch that I'm here an hour because the banks close at 2 here. I didn't actually know the banks closed here, but when I tried using the cashier's check, my dumbass, I didn't even think about it. I pulled it out of my business account instead of my personal account, right? And I couldn't use it because I can't hold a business liable for someone's bond. So I'm like, oh shit. I found that out at like 1:20, like actually 1:30. And they said, you better hurry because the banks close at 2. And not only do you need to bring that check back here before 2, we still need to get on the phone with the bank before they close and verify, or your buddy's not getting out until Tuesday. I'm like, oh shit. So I rush to the bank. There was a big line. Have them swap it out as fast as possible. I get back to the jail at 1:58. Well, I get back to the jail actually at 1:56, but it takes me 2 minutes to go through security and stuff. So I get back to the counter at 1:58. And immediately they rush, take the check, try to get on the phone. The bank doesn't answer the phone. Because they said right when I got in, like, you better hope the bank answers the phone because if they don't answer the phone, you're SOL. And there is no way in hell I went through all this hell to get here to have to turn around and come home and come back on Tuesday or send his dad back. No way. And I don't want to stay in California either, right? Um, so they don't get the bank on the phone. The bank doesn't pick up. I guess 2 minutes before close, that's close enough to close, they don't answer the phone anymore. I pretty much begged for them to push it through anyways. Like, just begged for them to push it through. They didn't say anything because there's cameras and stuff, but they end up pushing it through anyways without verifying. They kind of broke the rules there. So I got so damn lucky. And pretty much she whispered to her assistant, verify this on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. And then no one would know. And it ended up clutching up. So they're like, all right, we'll take it, whatever. And they didn't say anything. They just pretended like the bank verified it. Because I told them my story. I said, this is bullshit, whatever. By the way, I may have to enter longs here. That no, it's a bull pennant, but it's also in supply on a pivot. I'm okay. If we do probability analysis, it's still actually kind of a 50-50 trade. You got a pivot, you have supply, and then you have a bull pennant and an uptrend. It's 50-50. So I'm okay. I'll continue with the story. So anyways, I'm like, okay, when's he get out? And guess what? They said it takes typically 6 to 12 hours to process. I'm like, are you shitting me, dude? I wanted to be home tonight. And I'm like, okay, is there anything you can do to get him out sooner? Because I'm not trying to sit in my car, because it's in the freaking ghetto too. I'm not trying to sit in my car and I don't even know where to go because it's not like I'm in LA, I'm in Santa Ana. I mean, I could just hang out at Disneyland, I guess, but anyways, I'm like, is there any way we can get him out earlier? And keep in mind, I was talking to them at 2 o'clock, and they're like, well, the shift ends at 4 o'clock, 4 p.m. If he doesn't get out by 4 p.m., he's not going to get out until 9 at night because that's when the next shift starts. That's when the next round of people are able to get released. But it's pretty unlikely that he's going to get out by 4 and he's not going to get out till 9. So I pretty much begged him again. And they said, we'll see what we can do, whatever. So I ended up, because they said, we'll see what we can do, I don't know if he's going to be able to get out within the next 2 hours. So I end up sitting at some Burger King in the ghetto, whatever. And I'm tasked with finding his car, right? So I find his car. It's at a tow yard. It's not impounded, which is good. Because also a big thing is, normally I'd take my truck, right? I have a Duramax. Normally I would take my truck, which has 4 seats. Because I don't know if his car is impounded before I get there. And if his car is impounded, I have a way of bringing him home and the chick home. Well, my truck keys have been lost for the last 3 weeks, okay? And I have a warranty on the truck. I'm just too lazy. I have a bunch of cars, so it's like, it's easy for me to procrastinate it because I don't actually need my truck. But that's been an issue. So, anyways, um, I call his dad. I'm like, all right, can I take his RS7? He just bought an Audi RS7, which is a 4C. I'm like, all right. I call Caleb because they're roommates. I'm like, is his RS7 there? I'm gonna take it. And he said no, his dad has it. So I call his dad again right before I leave, by the way. And I said, hey, it's Caleb's is my buddy's RS7. Do you have it? Because I'm gonna take it. And he said, no, it's in the shop getting wrapped. I'm like, shit. And he offers for me to take a different car. I'm not taking one of his parents' cars. It's only him that, I'm willing to abuse his cars for. So I take the gamble and take my Corvette, which only has 2 seats. I take the gamble and go there with 2 seats. And if his car is impounded, this chick's out of luck. I'm kind of hoping that she found her way back home already. A family came pick her up or something. But she's out of luck if the car's impounded. So that was a big gamble in itself. But once I found out that the car was not impounded and we'd be able to get it back, that was a huge relief because that's just a lot less stress for me, right? So I'm sitting at a Burger King in the ghetto, homeless dude comes in the Burger King, takes a bunch of trash cups and whatever. So anyways, I'm just sitting there and also I feel like a victim in California because I always have my gun on me. And in California, I don't have my gun on me. So I just feel like a victim. If someone at least pulls up with a gun, I at least have a chance. In California, I just feel like a victim. Like there's nothing I can do. I'm just SOL. So I hate that as well. But anyways, they end up calling me at 3:30 and said, your buddy's going to be out in 10 minutes. Oh, I'm like, praise God. So I go back to the jail. I get him. And obviously he's like shocked that I'm there or whatever because, I saved him. But what I was literally anything. If I were 10 minutes later to getting there at any point in the journey, if his dad decided to go, whoever else, if I were 10 minutes later, he would have been in until Tuesday, which it's not the end of the world. I mean, he's a busy dude. He's got work and stuff. It's not the end of the world. But come to find out, it would have been the end of the world. Because guess what this retard tells me, right? He tells me about how shitty it was. And his mom tells him not to take the COVID vaccine, right? Like, most people I know didn't take the COVID vaccine because it's fishy as hell, right? And pretty much everyone knows that. So his mom always told him, who was a nurse, and my mom's a nurse, says the same thing. Pretty much every doctor or nurse I know tell you to not take that shit. But anyways, his mom has always told him, don't take the COVID vaccine. Well, this idiot, when he gets into the jail, they try to make him take a COVID test. And he denies the COVID test because he thought his mom said no COVID tests either. So he refuses a COVID test, which is literally just a Q-tip up your nose. So stupid. So you know what happened to him? He got thrown in solitary confinement. So he had nothing but a concrete bed, bright lights, a steel toilet and a sink, no window, no clock, just rotting in there. And keep in mind, he was rotting in there for 13 hours before I got him. And they don't even give you water. He didn't even get water. He had bread. He had bread and he had milk and he doesn't even like milk. So he only ate the bread. And obviously the concrete smells like piss because only crazy people go in there. And he has nothing. There's not a blanket, not anything. It's cold. The bright lights never turn off. So all he has is his hoodie for a pillow and no concept of time whatsoever. And the guards were making fun of him because he's a dumbass. And yeah, he was slowly losing his mind. So he ended up being 10 minutes away from being in solitary confinement until Tuesday. Which means he would have only got out yesterday in the middle of the day. So I saved him. I ended up only charging him. I ended up just making me wire me back $21,000, That way I cover gas and stuff. I'm not actually there to make money. So anyways, right when we get in the car, he's like, okay, I need to contact the girl. I'm like, oh shit, she's real? I didn't think she was real because I forgot to mention while I was at Burger King, I called CHP because that's what the jail told me to do. I'm like, hey, what's the details with what went on last night? Is the car impounded? Was there a girl with him? Where is she now? If there was, blah, blah, blah. And they said the car's not impounded. It's at a tow yard. They gave me the information for said tow yard. This is bullish consolidation, by the way. You could have taken a long trade if you want, but I'm locked into the story. That's where I got the information to find the car, the 812. And they said regarding the girl, like, yeah, I just checked my records twice. There's nothing about a girl. Keep in mind, the girl was kind of a rumor. Only Caleb said there was a girl with him, but none of us have ever met this person before. So I'm like, okay, it doesn't exist. They said, yeah, we have no girl in our records. If there was a girl there, obviously we wouldn't leave her on the side of the highway. We would take her somewhere, make sure she has a ride or whatever. So we have nothing about any girl. I'm like, okay, sweet, perfect. That's less than I got to deal with. Well, when I get my buddy out of jail, one of the first things he says, like, I got to contact the girl. I'm like, what do you mean? CHP said there's no girl ever. And like, yeah, there was a girl. They didn't bullpen it, broke to the upside, by the way. Congrats if you caught it. That was good TA. But anyways, so now we have to find this chick. Okay? And Eli's like, yeah, they didn't let me like send her money on my phone. They didn't let me really do anything. They just let her they let me give her some cash out of my wallet. So pretty much all she got is $300 and see you later. We end up finding the girl at like the most ghetto Motel 6 ever. Out of all the hotels she chose the most ghetto Motel 6. So he went in with her to go shower. And I'm sitting in the parking lot and there's some like sketchy ass crip just like patrolling my car, like acting like he's tweaking on something or plotting my demise. So I have to leave. And then when they come back, I come back. And again, I wouldn't have left, but again, I have no firearm, so like just so sketchy, like just sketchy. California, it's just all Mexican gangs is really all there is there. So anyways, we pick up the girl and we go to In-N-Out, whatever. And she's like, yeah, no, the police officer said they were going to take him to jail and they were going to come back to come pick me up and get me. They forgot about her. They left her on the side of the highway in California, far from home at 1 a.m. They just left her on the side of the highway. And I think what happened is because they forgot about her, they took her out of the report so it doesn't reflect on the officers badly. So yeah, she got dumped off on the side of the highway and she was just there. Well, anyways, we decided to go to In-N-Out and then go some of the way home. So go back to Palm Springs, stay at the JW Marriott there for a night, hit up the casino. I didn't know they were the worst casinos in all of California, so I rinsed 2,000. I was tempted to continue doubling, but the roulette wheels, they don't even have balls. It's rigged. They don't even have balls on the roulette wheels. They're like the mechanical switches. It's a freaking scam. So I throw 1,000. I'm like, all right, you paid me 1,000 for this. Let's throw it on black, right? I threw it on black. It hits red. And keep in mind, pretty much the entire screen was red. So naturally, I want to throw it on black. I lost. There's no ball, by the way. There's switches. I don't even know how it works. There's like a bunch of switches in the middle. And as it spins, it like makes a bunch of clicks. And then I guess the light just goes to one of them. I don't know, but it's a freaking scam. So I'm like, all right. I was talking to my buddy and the girl I was with. I'm like, all right, time to introduce you to the get even or get even worse, right? So we go to Morongo, which is a different casino 20 minutes away. Because that one's a scam. And I have higher hopes for this one. My buddy Charlie ended up telling me those were two of the worst casinos in all of California. Congrats if you took that long trade, by the way, hit PT. Kind of wish I did, but again, I'm not attached to trading this time of day because, whatever. I'm not really willing to risk flipping this day red as well. Anyways, they have the same roulette table. Now I'm like, screw it. Last time the entire screen was green. Now this time's black. I'm going to go with the trend this time. Throw 1,000 on black. Get even or get even worse. I got even worse, so I left. So I actually ended up losing. I actually ended up losing money from this experience, but it's okay. I really, really wanted to go back. I'm like, No, because, I don't do that. Just like trading. I stop out, that's it, womp womp, right? So I ended up going back to the hotel. And I was pretty upset. Usually I don't really care about losing money, whether it's trading or gambling. Keep in mind, I've only gone to the casino like 4 times in the last like 3 years. So it's not like it's an often thing. But this one was more painful because uh, I pretty much just went through this hell and ended up negative. So, anyways, I made half of it back the next night at back home. But anyways, that was the story. That's what happened. So that's why I was MIA last weekend. Didn't get back until roughly Sunday evening. And oh, get this. Get this. When he first gets out of jail, or right before he first gets out of jail, when they process the bond, they hand me a ticket, okay? And they're like, keep this ticket on you. This is the receipt for you bailing him out. This is all his information. This is the charge. Keep this on you. And they looked me dead in the eye and they said, Eli's going to get this same thing. Do not let him lose it. He needs to have it on him at all times. When he's driving, if he's going anywhere, he has to have this paper. If he doesn't have this paper, it's 1 to 3 years in jail. Like, aye, Captain. So I tell my buddy, don't lose that, you piece of shit. I know you're probably going to lose it. Don't lose that paper. Fold it up and put it in your wallet, because he always has his wallet with him. I said, fold it up, put it in your wallet right now, and do not lose it. You need to have it on you, especially because he is prone to getting pulled over because he can't help himself but speed. Like, he just can't help himself, right? Even on the way back from California, he's doing 100, which wasn't that big of a deal, but it's like, dude, you just got out of solitary confinement and you're already speeding again. Some people are just slow, right? But anyways, so he cannot lose that piece of paper. Well, we end up having a celebration dinner at Steakhouse. We invited our friends. It's our buddy's first day out. It's our first criminal friend, and we celebrated his freedom and also the clutch that I performed because he would have still been in there for days in solitary. Um, and I was talking about that piece of paper. I'm like, yeah, he can't, because we were talking about how stupid he is and how why can't he just drive like a normal person? Like, how come you just can't go like how come you can't just go 90 on the freeway, right? Everyone typically goes 80, maybe 85 for the faster cars here. If you're going 90, you're probably not going to get pulled over because it's only slightly faster than traffic. Why can't you just go 90 instead of going like 120 to 140? Why does that need to happen? And I said, especially because, he gets pulled over a lot, he needs to have that piece of paper. He's like, yeah, I got the piece of paper. And I'm like, let me look at it because we wanted to see his charge number. He opens his wallet. His paper is gone. The paper's gone. It's nowhere to be seen. And then I start panicking for him because I'm like, dude, because the lady told me how important this piece of paper was. And obviously he starts panicking too. I'm like, dude, where the F is your paper? You dumbass. He's like, I don't know. I put it in here. It must have fell out. He didn't have his car. He didn't have the 812. He took the SVJ to dinner, and everyone took their cars. I took my 720. So he, we get back to my place after, tears apart the 812, not in there. Tears apart the SVJ, not in there. I tear apart my apartment because he came to my apartment beforehand, not in there at all. And it's not in his apartment either, nor is it in his parents' house. The paper's gone. It's actually gone. Still to this day, he doesn't have it. I told him, dude, drive the speed limit. Don't have your cars in manual because they're so much louder. And call the jail first thing Tuesday morning to figure out the piece of paper. He still hasn't called. He hasn't called. And he's still driving around without that piece of paper. So if he gets pulled over, it is SOL for him. So that's the ongoing thing. The piece of paper is just gone. It despawned, I think it's just God punishing him for speeding on the way back. He just snapped his fingers, boom, that paper's gone out of existence. I think that's what happened. But yeah, that was my weekend. It was pretty entertaining. Also, I had to get a video of him coming out of jail, and it's only 7 seconds because he looked like he had the when when he came out, he had the 1,000 yard stare. If you guys know what I mean, he had the 1,000 yard stare. It was so funny, but I didn't want to bully him too hard right away. Um, so I just asked him how his vacation was and whatnot, just the funny things. But yeah, that was it. So, do you have your copy of the paper? I do have my copy of the paper, Alex. I do have it. Did he sleep at all there? No, he didn't sleep. He didn't sleep. He didn't get any phone calls. He didn't get any water. All he had was bread and milk, and he doesn't drink milk, so he didn't have the milk. But yeah, so um, that was the entertaining bit. It was a pretty entertaining weekend. Congrats if you type in chat. Did you guys catch that bullpen it? I wasn't really willing to risk my wins because I mean it's still 50-50. It's nice that I wanted it to break to the upside so y'all can win, but it's like, the bull pennant and the uptrend is one reason to go up. The pivot and the supply are two reasons to go down. Sorry, the uptrend and the bull pennant are two reasons to go up. It had two reasons to go down. It's pretty 50-50, and I rather not take that. But let me just journal that real quick. Could have been a way better day, but it's green. It's all right. I don't know if I'm gonna keep trading this time of day, so I'm not really trying to make money. Um, I wanna finish my back testing. If I can, while I'm back testing for the rest of this week and maybe early next week, if I can just get small green days, I'm happy. As long as I'm not losing money, because I may switch things up here soon. I may try to trade futures in the first hour because it is so much better. The price action itself wasn't terrible during this time. We had plenty of volatility. It's just unlucky. Like me getting stopped out of my longs here, horrendously unlucky. Chose to go for high of day instead of supply. It's a toss up, horrendously unlucky. So it's like, it's whatever. It's not that big of a deal. You guys probably made a lot more money than I did, but because the analysis was great, even the bullpen it was. But what does he do to make money? Uh, Online business. He's private about it, so I don't say. But yeah, it was a very entertaining weekend, and also I wanted to be the one that gets to bully him right when he gets out of jail, right? I didn't want anyone else to do that, so I reserved that right. Is he a trader as well? No, no, he's not a trader. Of course, I know what he does for a living, but he's not public about it. Sonny says, sorry, I'm just now reading the comments. Sonny says, if someone pulls a gun on you, it's too late. I would beg to differ because most people that just pull a gun on you, let's just imagine for a second, the type of person to pull a gun on you, what they look like, what their experience with combat is, and actually train like firearm training and whatnot. And think of the kind of person that would randomly pull a gun on someone to like rob a place, right? That kind of person is not actually planning on pulling the trigger because most of the time they're pussies. I mean, you see it all the time on security footage. When people go in to rob a gas station or whatever it is, they let themselves get jumped before they pull the trigger. Right? Um, Mostly that's what Instagram's for. I've seen I can't tell you how many times I actually, now that I think of it, I've seen so many videos of people robbing places with a gun. Out of all the videos I've seen, I've never actually seen anyone pull the trigger unless they're shooting the criminal. So I beg to differ. The kind of person that would pull up just, pointing a gun at me, they're not ready to pull the trigger. And the second they let their guard down, they're getting smoked, you know? Um, they're just using it to try to get money or whatever it is. So it really depends on the person. And that's something you got to read, but, you know, obviously when someone pulls a gun on you, you give them whatever they want. Obviously that's like step one. You know, if someone just had a gun to me, you know, it's not like I'm gonna try anything, even though I don't think they're gonna do it. Um, but if they're just in the general vicinity of me and it's not pointed at me, yeah, then it's pretty easy. It's not gonna be a problem. What do you carry? Yeah, I carry the Sig P365, but it's the X Macro. And I have a Holosun holographic on it with a TLR8 flashlight laser deal. Great gun. Great gun. Small, 13 rounds. Will do the job. The guys who don't get jumped show up on the. That's not true, so I see people die on Instagram all the day. All the time. All the time. X Macro. Lots of. I actually bought my mom doesn't have a gun, and she's a single mother. So actually for Christmas, I bought her the exact same gun I have, the X Macro, except I don't like manual safeties on handguns. I got her a manual safety because my siblings, two of my siblings still live with her. They're younger. And one of them is 10 years younger than me. So she's 12. I'm 22. So I got her the X Macro with the manual safety. So have you guys heard the Holosun has Chinese chips? I mean, I don't know what doesn't have Chinese chips. I don't know any chips that are just made in America except Apple. So that doesn't bother me. Yeah, California is a dumpster fire. But as far as the laws of, well, I mean, if I'm down to just yap. If y'all want to yap, we can talk about when you can and can't kill someone with your firearm. Because most people don't actually know. Like most people that I've talked to, at least that are younger, actually have no idea when they're allowed to use their firearm and when they're not. So if you guys want a briefing on that, I'm more than happy to share. But how do you guys meet? It was through a mutual friend that's no longer mutual friends. We just met through car stuff, you know. Typically, when you're in your early 20s with a supercar, you naturally kind of know everyone else in your area that's in their low 20s with supercars, and you guys just kind of do stuff together. So I guess it was through cars, I guess. It depends, Swaggy. So anything in your house. So typically, when it comes when you're allowed to shoot someone, you have to prove without a reasonable doubt that they are using lethal force. You cannot use unlethal force with lethal force. So that's why if you guys do carry a gun, you should always carry a non-lethal force such as pepper spray. Um, Pepper spray is great because you're not allowed to shoot someone that randomly comes up to you and starts beating the shit out of you and punching you. You're not allowed to shoot them. You're only allowed to shoot them if they are using lethal force. So if they're using their fists to try to injure you, you're not allowed to shoot them. Even though you're getting your ass kicked, you're not allowed to shoot them. If they have a baseball bat, a wrench, a knife, anything, a piece of metal, a rock, if someone just charges at you with a rock, then yeah, you can shoot them because that's lethal force. That could be lethal force, right? And it's not if you don't have to know that they're going to kill you with said rock, but if they have a rock, you have to assume that they can use lethal force. Um, you can't shoot someone if they're just using their hands, nor can you shoot someone if they're robbing you or your property, right? You can't shoot someone over property, unfortunately. So if some guys are trying to steal your car in the front yard and they're unarmed, you're not allowed to shoot them. Now, that doesn't mean you have to let them do it, but you're not allowed to use lethal force. You cannot use lethal force to defend property. um, unless they are also they have lethal force to do so. So you always have to carry an intermediate like pepper spray or whatever, and that's pretty important. If you decide to carry a gun, which you absolutely should, I don't know why any. This is the only life you have. Why would I mean, pardon my language, but I'm not. If this is the only life I have, I'm not going out like a bitch if anything happens. I refuse to just be a victim. I at least want to give myself a chance. And you know what? If a restaurant gets shot up and I happen to be the first person to go, that's my time. God's calling me home. That's just unlucky right there. There's nothing I can do about that. Otherwise, I refuse to not be a victim, or I refuse to be a victim. Just helpless, like 98% of people in society. But now you can shoot someone, and this is the tough part. If they're using non-lethal force, but they are a lot bigger than you, and they are actively trying to kill you, which is the tough part because you would need to prove this in court. I don't think you'd have that hard of a time doing so. You really wouldn't. But you still got to go through court and trials and all that hell. But if someone's using non-lethal force and they're a lot bigger than you and they're attacking you, you can't shoot them before they attack you, but they are attacking you, and maybe they're trying to choke you or whatever, or saying like I'm gonna kill you. Then you're still gonna have like kind of a court battle though. Especially it depends on the state. So that's kind of like the only time that you can use lethal force against someone without lethal force. However, I think it's pretty much the same in all states. If anyone's in your house, you can shoot them. They don't have to have a gun. They don't have to have any weapon. You can shoot them if they're in your house. That's your safe place to smoke someone if needed to be, with pretty much no court repercussions. Um, obviously within reason, right? If a child breaks into your house because of whatever, I would not shoot a child. But if someone is in your house, yeah, you can shoot them, and you could say whatever you want. You can say they were reaching for a kitchen knife or something. You can say whatever you want. You can shoot someone in your own house, but probably statistically not going to happen. So you can fire a warning shot. No, you cannot. Swaggy, you can't even brandish your firearm. You'll go to jail for brandishing your firearm. So like if you're in an argument with someone, I forgot to mention this. If you're in an argument with someone and you're scared of them and they're bigger than you and they're threatening to fight you, you can't even show that you have a firearm, right? Now, if you're open carrying, they're obviously going to see it, so you're not going to have that issue, but most people should conceal carry, right? Why would you make yourself a target? If you conceal carry, you're not even allowed to pull up your shirt or your jacket and show that you have a firearm, because that's illegal. That's illegally brandishing a firearm. You're not allowed to do that. You cannot brandish your firearm unless you have intention to use it, and you are pretty much legally allowed to use it. So, yeah, you cannot brandish your firearm pretty much in any situation unless someone's a direct threat to you or someone else with lethal force, right? So if you see like a little girl getting kidnapped, but the dude doesn't have a weapon, you're not going to go, no juror is going to find you guilty of murder because that man is lethal force to that small child. Or if someone shows up to a store with a gun and points it at anyone, you can smoke them, no problem. But yeah, you cannot brandish your firearm. Do not do that. You will get into a lot of trouble. Last year's the worst state for Second Amendment. Yeah, Massachusetts. Yeah, I don't do any of those really liberal states. I do not like them. Dev says, and that's a nice thing about Arizona too. Arizona is one of the only states that you don't need a concealed weapons permit. You don't need a CCW. You can just conceal. Once you're 21, you can just conceal. You don't need any registration, no permit whatsoever, and that's why my buddy was in jail, because not only was the gun not registered, but he also didn't have a license for it. But yeah, Arizona, you don't need to register your firearms. Even when you buy them, they don't get registered, and you don't need any kind of permit to carry. I can walk around with my SCAR and a 50-round drum mag on my back. And obviously I'm going to get apprehended by police, but I'm technically not breaking any laws. If I'm not in a school zone and I'm not in private property, I could do that. Wouldn't it be better if you needed a permit? No, not really, Swaggy. Permit really doesn't have to do anything because if you buy a firearm, you only get a permit if you wanted to conceal carry. If you're a criminal, you don't need a permit to conceal carry. To criminals, nothing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many permits and registrations you have to make it legal. The point is, criminals are illegal, so it doesn't matter. It just makes it harder for the good people to get firearms. You can easily kill someone if you punch them 10 times. Gadget, no, you cannot. You're not going to kill someone with 10 punches. Unless this person is a very, like an elderly person or a very small child, you're not killing anyone with 10 punches, I promise. Sure, you can give them a concussion, but no one's just going to die. You're really not going to... I mean, you're not going to kill anyone unless you start curb stomping their head or something like that. Otherwise, no, you're not going to kill anyone. The only way you're killing someone in a fight is choking them out. That's really the only way. I'd still like background checks, punches to the back. That is true, Swaggy. That is true. But punches to the back of the head aren't gonna happen in a fight unless but also fighting is dangerous in itself. You don't want to fight people because yeah, if I fight someone and they start it, but I hit them and break their jaw, I'm liable for that. Or if I hit them in the back of the head, or if I hit them and they fall on the concrete and smack the back of their head and they have brain damage, I'm liable for that. So it's pretty good to just, unless you're in Texas, just avoid fights. If it's Texas, you can just declare mutual combat and you can go outside and fight someone completely legally. But the rule is the second they go to the ground, you have to stop fighting. So, which I love that law. That law is awesome. But otherwise, you don't want to fight anyone either. Just pepper spray them and it's over with. It's too much of a liability to fight someone because anything can happen. You can break their jaw. One punch, you can break their jaw. One kick to the head, you can, give them brain damage. One good oblique kick and you can fold their knee backwards and you're liable for that. There's so much you can do. There's so much of a risk. And then if the fight goes to the ground and they don't tap out and you break their arm or whatever, it's... I think you're actually allowed to break their arms, though. I think you're actually allowed to. You're allowed to pretty much break everything that's not. It depends. It depends on the state. Well, the stand your ground rule in some states, that's... You're thinking of like the home thing. But yeah, in Texas, you can if you're arguing with someone in a bar and ask them to step outside and agree to mutual combat, you guys can do it right in front of cops too. It's just the second one falls to the ground, the fight's over. And if you continue after that, then it's illegal. But anyways, the market continued going up. That's awesome. So I'm glad for those of you guys that made money. From what I see in chat, you guys were too invested in my story to trade. But I'm not really committed to this time anymore, guys. Especially, I'm starting to backtest. I'm on backtest more right now. It's like, yeah, today was decent. Today was still fairly unlucky, but today was decent. It's a green day, whatever. It's so much better. It's night and day. It's literally been night. Like, I get off. Today was my first red down options in a while. Yesterday, 100% accuracy on options. I might have had one loss. I don't remember. But pretty much 100% accuracy with options. All huge gains. If I took those futures trades, my futures accounts would be up a ton. And then it's like night and day. I get into the second hour of trading. I trade the exact same way, the exact same analysis and hypotheses, and I lose every single trade. And then on good days, I'm only getting like a 50-60% win rate and then just scraping away. And it's like one really good day every week or every other week. tips the law of probabilities in my favor. But the truth is, because it's such a low win rate, that's been hurting my psychology over time, especially going from so good during the first hour to so shitty the second and third hour, that it's honestly just been deteriorating my psychology a ton. And I've never been less patient trading futures now because I'm just so fed up with it. I feel like I'm just wasting my time, um, which makes me less willing to accept loss. And as you guys know, it's pretty dangerous. So yeah. So I'm not very attached this time. I'm gonna see what I can do. I don't know. I need to finish my back testing. I'm going to document the results for you guys and just lay it out. I'm gonna do just the first hour, just the second hour, and just the third hour every single day since February 1st. And I'm gonna show you guys the discrepancy. And I'm not going to force trades. I'm just gonna take trades that I think will be green and that are good enough to get me triggered in, and limit myself to 6 trades. Only do that first hour. Not going to be 6 though. And yeah, I'll let you guys know what happens. But it's so far, it's like night and day difference. And it's like I'm wasting a lot of time. It's not efficient at all. And I mean, I just make, if I can trade for 1/3 of the time that I'm trading and have way better results, who in their right mind wouldn't do that? And that's why I'm so conflicted, because I'm frankly, I scared wouldn't be the right word, but I'll just use it. I'm scared to trade futures and options at the same time because, if something messes up, because I'm alerting. Most of the time in the mornings is spent typing in my channel. The physical trading takes like 2 seconds, right? But when I trade options and alert and trade futures, I've blown 20 PAs 3 times over because of doing that. Because something happens, I miss a stop loss, or something happens and my stop loss is actually an average down, or something happens and I miss a trade and that hurts my psyche, whatever it is, there's a lot less focus happening. And that's kind of an issue. By the way, longs look great to dip by because ES just put in a perfect double top and NQ missed this pivot. So I am bullish for NQ to get to 256 at some point today. But all right, I mean, that's pretty much going to be it for this session. I'm working on back testing and stuff. And also it's a pain in the ass too. Normally I would care less, but because I'm live and this is the only futures time you guys get with me, it's even more painful with how much worse it is than the first hour, because you guys are watching and I want to provide the best for you guys. But it's like, it's only so much I can do, right? So I don't want to just be barely profitable, just requesting a couple payouts, or, because it used to be like most days would be 100% accuracy. At least 50% of days would be 100% accuracy futures trading second and third hour most of last year until about October. And now it's like pretty much the opposite. Most days are 50%. So, I mean, it's bugging me. But so I'm going to backtest. I'm going to figure out something. I'm also going to backtest the third going into the fourth hour, because as of lately, it seems like that's when the big trends are starting, the third and fourth hour. Now, granted, I'm going to have to trade a little bit differently. But I mean, even yesterday, like, when did the trends start? 11 o'clock my time, which is 3.5 hours after market open, right? During the fourth hour, it just starts trending hard. So I'm going to go through the hassle, and I'm going to backtest every single day since February 1st, really every trading day. I'm going to do the first hour, go back to the second hour, go back to the third hour, and I'll give you guys my results. Now, granted, I'll be trading with 1 NQ mini and 2 ES minis because I don't want to drop to the micro chart. And I'll keep you guys updated. Obviously, there are going to be some trades that I missed. The results aren't going to be flawless, right? Some trades are hard decisions that are toss-ups. Some days I would enter, some days I wouldn't. But you guys will get a pretty good idea of the way I trade, as well as the time of day that's been fitting, because the market's changed lately. It's not as more in the morning. Pivots get swept, unless it's today. Pivots get swept because it's so volatile. The second and third hour, man, it's just been mostly choppy. Granted, like I said, today wasn't choppy. Today was fine. I just got unlucky. If every day was like this, I would never not trade the second hour. It would be beautiful. Every day would be bright green. But unfortunately, statistically, that's just not been happening. So sometimes you got to evolve with the markets. Bruh says, I want to get a gun. What's a good first one? Get my gun. As for a handgun, SIG P365 X Macro. Fantastic gun. Depending on your budget, it's a little bit more expensive than other ones. I think it's like $700-800. But it's a solid gun. You're never gonna have issues with it ever. But and then I have a Scar 17S. I have a couple other things, but it would have made way more on features. Yeah, that is true, Swaggy. Yeah, I'm still want to trade options because frankly I make more money with options. That's where I make my money. Futures I haven't been I've been making a little bit, but not anywhere near my potential, which is why it's depressing. But if I just traded futures and options first hour, would be so much better every single day and way less work, you know? The only thing I'm gonna have to work out is with options, I go half size and average down. Futures, I wouldn't do that. So yeah, we'd have to see. Futures would be a little bit more mechanical. So switching from going half size and averaging down to also just taking one futures trade, it's going to be a little difficult to combine those two because my futures trading is a lot more mechanical. But yeah, we'll see. Can you pepper spray someone if they threaten that they will FEMA, you can pepper spray anyone for anything. If a person walks up to you in your personal space and they're arguing with you, you can tell them to get away from me. I feel threatened or whatever. And if they don't, immediately you can pepper spray them. You can pepper spray someone for practically anything. You know, obviously you shouldn't do it because if it's not somewhat justifiable, it's assault and is that technically battery? Because it's not really. I would assume it's battery, right? Because I know obviously if you punch someone, it's battery, but I would assume it's assault and battery. Can you taser people? Yes, you can. Yeah, that's non-lethal. You can tase people, you can pepper spray people. If anyone's even mildly a threat to you or being aggressive with you, if you can reasonably justify feeling threatened in any way, you can pepper spray someone. It's also great for dogs too. If some random dog is being really hostile with you, you're on the street or in a park or whatever, some dog's not on his leash, coming up to you, barking at you, trying to bite you, yeah, you can pepper spray the dog and no problem. So. Yeah, you can pepper spray people. But all right, sweet. Well, you guys have a great rest of your day. I am bullish for NQ to get to this high. It is a lot stronger than ES. It's not a very far PT, but it looks pretty good. But all right, I'll let you guys go. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Hopefully my story was somewhat entertaining. I hope more stories like that don't show up in my life, but they probably will, so we will see. But all right, I'll see you guys later. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Good luck if you continue trading. And as far as DMs, I'm going to answer those. Knocking out the last of the mentorship one-on-ones. This is the last week without a weekly schedule for the Discord people. Next week, it's back to full force. We're getting started with a lot of stuff. We're going to start up the TA course again pretty soon, early next month. We're going to be doing a lot, so get ready for that. But all right, we'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out.